Hi everyone, this is Trish Burles, life coach and author of A Face of Anxiety. Today I'm actually addressing one of the questions that I've gotten. I get a lot of DMs and comments, and I decided instead of trying to answer everything, I will do a video about it, and that way it'll be a little bit more detailed and I can get my point across in a much easier way. So one of the questions was, what is my inner dialogue when I'm having a panic attack? So we know when that moment happens where all of a sudden you get that that little tinge of, oh God, it's happening. And your heart starts racing and your palms start sweating, and usually for me it's always something stomach based, and sometimes my body will go straight into convulsing, and I start to tremble, or it will just start to go with the heart racing and I don't get the trembles, but I can tell that I'm in the midst of a panic. So what I say to myself, as soon as it happens and I try to catch it, I usually get up and I pace. So walking for me is better. So everybody's different, so you have to find what really works for you. But I notice that I like to pace. So I'll kind of pace maybe in a circle or down my route, depends where I am. And I start my breathing technique, because when you're panicking, you also feel a little faint because you're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. So for me, I do a 15 count to calm. I also posted a video on this a few months ago. So I do a 5-second breathe in, and then you hold it for 5 seconds, and then you let it out for 5 seconds. So it's 5, 5, and 5, which is why it's called 15 count to calm. And then in my head, I'm actually counting. So that way you're trying to stop the other thoughts coming in. So you don't want to create more anxiety. So when you're experiencing the panic, you'll almost try to fight it. I don't try to fight it, I just try to go with it. So I just breathe through it. And then counting helps, because then I can't have other thoughts of the what if or the catastrophic thinking. So my inner dialogue when I'm done breathing is, it's just, let's pretend this is 100% natural. Your body's in fight or flight. Your body cannot sustain this type of adrenaline for that long, so this will pass, and to just go through it. So instead of what you would think, you're kind of doing what is counterintuitive. So instead of saying like, oh my God, do this, do that, don't think about it, just let it happen. So I'm not saying to not think about it, but what I'm saying is to not push it away. So I allow the feelings to come, I allow the trembling to come, and I know that it's natural. I know that I'm not in danger. So what's happening for my inner dialogue is I say to myself, all right, Trish, yes, you have anxiety. Yes, this is just one of the things that are occurring. It's going to pass. Tomorrow's a whole different day. Who knows what got triggered? Maybe you ate something. Maybe you couldn't digest the right way. I don't know, because, these are just unanswered questions. So I just start to talk to myself and I stick to the facts that it's normal. I've been through this before. I'll get through it. The least amount of resistance I have to it, the less power it gets. So I'm just going to sit with it, let my body do its thing, try to give myself as much oxygen as possible to do my breathing technique. And then I also put in earphones as I'm walking, and I just start to rub my stomach, just because for me that's my trigger, is my stomach. So I just rub my stomach and I just say to myself, it's all right, it's okay, this too will pass, everything is fine. And you really always want to stick to the facts. So the facts is, I'm in my apartment. The fact is, I don't feel well. The fact is, my stomach feels off. The fact is, I'm giving myself enough oxygen. So if you stick to the facts and what you can actually feel at the moment, it prevents you from doing the what if catastrophic thinking. So that's always my inner dialogue, along with putting in some great music. I have my go-to playlist when I am anxious, and it's a playlist I use to calm myself no matter what. These songs give me life. I love music. It has been part of my toolkit for anxiety since I was ever introduced to music. I used to sleep with a pink radio underneath my pillow when I was younger, a radio, with like batteries and that stuff. I'm dating myself, but it's true, and it worked. And it worked for me back then, and it still works for me now. So that's basically the inner dialogue, and I wouldn't get too caught up in exact things that you need to say to yourself. You need to really understand your own body, understand the things that calm you down. I also put rose oil on my wrists and right here under my nose, or I use lavender. Anything that I do as a daily practice or a ritual, because I always put lavender on my pillow at night before I go to sleep. These will just remind your body of having a state of calmness. So that's what you really want to introduce. And that's the way that my inner dialogue goes when I'm having bouts of panic, which I have just incurred about a week and a half ago. So I really hope that this answers your question. It's a trial and error. See what works for you, but also try to make it a little bit more, less daunting, less embarrassing, less shameful, and just say like, okay, so then I'm gonna really try to work with my body if I have a next panic attack, and see, what can I do that's gonna make it feel better. So it's almost like a game, right? Okay, let me try to figure this out. So I know through my years and my experience that this is something that has worked for me, and that's what I implement. It could be different for you. So I just say trial and error, stick to the facts, find something soothing, and I hope that you guys learn so much more about what keeps you centered and calm. Thanks so much. If you want to know more about me or my services, you can go to barillascoaching.com. Ciao.